Good morning. This is Bluffers Beach, my most favorite beach in Ontario. If you've seen any of my videos, you know how much I post from here. I'm here every year from April until pretty much the end of September, sometimes even into October. Currently, right now, it is 7:45 in the morning. The temperature outside with the humidex, 30 degrees. Slight breeze. I got some things to do today, so I thought I'd come down to the beach for 2 hours in the morning, go for a swim, and chill out. You see in front of me there's some flat spots. It's not bumpy like this. Tractor way down at the end, he's doing the grooming for the morning. So this is kind of how it's left from last night. Get little seagulls in the morning. Pro tip, try to put your blanket down where the seagulls weren't. Might be seagull poo in the sand. Generally I bring a little shovel with me so I can scoop the seagull poop up, and well, generally I actually chuck it into the water so that it dilutes and spreads around rather than burying it in the sand for some kid to make a seagull poop sandcastle. Ready for it? This is Bluffers Beach. But those are the bluffs. Why we call it Bluffers Beach. 10,000 years ago, there's glaciers up to the sky. Imagine Game of Thrones, ice wall, wildlings, that was here. All the way to Chicago. When those glaciers melted, well, just like sand on the side of a shore smashing against the rocks, well, large tidal flows happened, and today we have the bluffs. Good morning, seagulls. You'll still see some garbage from the night before. Generally, we're pretty good here, though. There's usually not too much garbage. As I'm looking at a giant pile of garbage. Alright, you notice here, he's already done his grooming here for the morning. Now, the sand groomer we have here is okay. It could be better, in my opinion. See, this is the type of crap that I find on the beach right here. Okay? Could you imagine if this Crown Royal bottle broke? If that tractor drove over it wrong, how much glass would be here? Now, this is the kids' area. That lifeguard tower, that's their main tower. I personally think they should have one of those air-conditioned observation towers, like a lot of other municipalities, but another day. Anyway, that thing smashes around here, and that's where all the kids are making their sandcastles. Check out how clear it is right now. Pure sandbar. Temperature in the water right now is probably 20 degrees, maybe 21 degrees. Now, you might think, oh, that's hot, that's cold. Well, for a point of reference, the municipality of Toronto dictates that in the wintertime you have to keep apartments at 21 degrees for warmth. So the water technically is as warm as an apartment is kept in Toronto from a landlord in the winter. So you couple that with a 30-degree day outside, and it feels refreshing on the muscles. It's not cold. I don't know how to put it. It's almost like when you have to put like a little like cooling pad on your arm. That's what it feels like. It's like relaxing. There's the sand grooming machine. Most mornings I go for a run. I run all the way down to the end of the beach, not the end of the beach, kind of a little past those people you see way down there. And then I run all the way back to the rocks. Might not do that today. We'll see. Air quality is kind of a little low, although I do like going for runs, so we might do the run. If I do the run though, I don't know if I'm going to keep this stream going. We'll see. It might be a little bit bouncy for you guys if I happen to do the run. Want to see what the water looks like? Check this out. Alrighty, I would look at this. I'm in the water right now. Look how clear that is. This is why I say this is the best beach in all of Ontario. I've been to all of them, trust me. You don't get sand quality like this. You see a slight bit of algae, okay? That's a beach. That's natural, a freshwater beach. That's nothing. There's nothing on shore. Absolutely nothing on shore. That little bit of black you see is a little bit of sediment from people that do beach fires. It kind of gives like a little red glisten to the sand. But there's nothing on shore. Look at that. It's freaking beautiful. It really is. This is a blue flag beach. Blue flag beach is basically a number of days a year it has to be under 100 E. coli. For a point of reference, a lot of oceans close down at like 500 plus E. coli. Under 100 E. coli basically means it's drinking water. Last Friday, I don't know what the rating today, they test it every day, but last Friday we were at 11 E. coli. And with 11 E. coli, I can guarantee that that's probably cleaner than a lot of people's pools at home. Now what happens if you get past 100 E. coli? Well, past 100 E. coli, quite honestly, you are probably maybe have a little bit of a ready time in the washroom, but that's about it. You might have a stomach ache. But when you get to 500 E. coli, that's when like you're gonna have like sicknesses, infections, and cuts. And if you get up to 1,000, or like depending on your immune system, anything past 500 actually could be death. So you have to kind of be careful when it comes to quality. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is right now. And again, the engine here behind us is the sand grooming machine, picking up all of the garbage. Now, I'll probably go out for a swim this morning. There's no lifeguards on duty today. And now here's the crazy thing, right? This is water. Of course it's water, right? But it's water. So if any of you see any of my videos, like I ski some pretty crazy stuff. I don't ski off cliffs, but I ski on the side of cliffs, go exceptionally fast. And my mom's always like, oh, that's super dangerous. And I'm like, no, you know what's dangerous? Swimming in Lake Ontario by yourself. I mean, you gulp a little bit of water wrong, get a slight cramp, and you're slightly below your depth. There's no one, you're done. Or if you see my cliff jumping videos, you jump off of a cliff kind of wrong, hit a rock, maybe you can't climb up onto the cliff, so when you're coming back up because a wake hits you weird, it's a very scary situation. Much scarier than skiing. And people don't really take it for granted how crazy things can go wrong. For a lot of years, I've had everything happen to me in boats, and trust me, that's why if you see me do cliff jumping, I wear a life jacket. I don't like to mess around when it comes to water. So if I do go swimming out here and I'm by myself, I usually only go up to about my chest, and then I'll swim at chest depth, and I'll swim within the buoys just to stay safe. The last thing I want is to screw up and not be able to come home to my son. He is the most important person in my universe. Look at that. Hello! Seagull. Yeah, this is just pure bliss. My son's at home today with Grandpa. They had a late night playing video games and watching Netflix and YouTube. So they're having a sleep-in day. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning because that's when I always wake up. And got down here again for 7:45 in the morning for a nice 2.5 hours. Look at that. How could you be at home? This is always my math. Sitting at home in the morning, it's like, what am I doing? What am I going to do? surf on my phone, you know, well, okay, that's fine. I don't really mind that, but it's like, what are you doing? Are you just standing there? Are you sitting inside? I'd rather, if I'm gonna play on my phone for a couple hours, I'd rather be out here, sitting on the side of the beach, you know, talking to you guys, or just doing my own thing. I'd rather go for a swim, go for a run. Anything but be inside in July and August. Speaking of July and August, this is Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And one of the coolest things about... Oh, why are you not switching? There we go. Come on, there we go. One of the coolest things about Toronto is we have every temperature on this planet, -40, +40. We have every person on this planet, every single country. We have every religion on this planet. We have every cultural event on this planet. We have literally everything on this planet here in Toronto, Ontario. And the coolest thing is, if you don't leave the city and you just relax, every adventure comes to you. It is really cool. I mean, you want your summer Caribbean adventure? Look at this. I'd say this is summer Caribbean adventure. You want winter time? You want to go skiing in Nordic? You just wait until the winter time and boom, you've got winter time. You want to go hiking? You don't want to hike in the summertime. There's a lot of bugs. It's hot. It's sweaty. I'd rather be at the beach. However, hike in the springtime, all the leaves are just blooming. Most are down. You can actually see the waterfalls. Hike in the fall, and you get all of the amazing leaves. You get all the colors of fall. And again, most of the bugs are gone. So you get like hiking seasons, you get swimming seasons, you get summer, winter, you get everything here. It's literally the best. I mean, you go experience a part of the world that maybe you can't afford to go to, or perhaps, you know, to be honest, don't want to go to. You can always show up to one of their cultural centers or religious centers on a special holiday and, you know, see what's going on there. I mean, one year we went to this thing in Dundas Square in Toronto called Get Your Turban On. And it was a bunch of sheiks that were giving out free turbans, and like there's a cultural meal and stuff, and they're doing this crazy bendy sword dance thing. It was really, really, really cool. But you know the other part that's cool about Toronto? Not only do we have everything from the world, but the world also comes... Look at that. Oh my god, that's so cool. I was moving my feet forward. Another thing I really like about Toronto is... oh, you know what? I don't even know where I was going with that. I saw those waves and it broke my brain. But that's actually the main reason I come to the beach. I find this water, the constant movement, the way that each wave interacts with each other, looking at the sand and the grains going over the sandbar, seeing the color of the sun reflecting off at the bottom of the water, all of that, it really breaks my thought process. It makes me ultimately relaxed, and I don't think about the issues of the day. Positive or negative, like I just don't think. There's so much to look at, so much to take in. Just look at here. See, it's like it just completely relaxes you. There's nothing else to it. It's crazy. Especially if you happen to live in a big city like Toronto, where there's a lot of hustle and bustle. You're bombarded by advertisements, loud noise. No, I'm just joking. That's a good noise. But you know what I'm saying. It's sometimes nice to be able to just find a spot and turn off. Now, luckily, Toronto, we do have a lot of beaches. Like, this isn't the only beach. This is the best beach, but not the only beach, and maybe not the best beach for you. This beach is amazing for swimming. This beach is amazing for families. Amazing for large picnics, which I love to see. Not the best party beach, I would say. It's a hassle to get down here. We get lots of enforcement, and there's better beaches for party beaches, in my opinion. Woodbine Beach, Cherry Beach, Murray Curtis Beach. Those are all far better beaches for a party atmosphere, in my opinion. This one, I would say, is more of an actual Caribbean family beach atmosphere. And I like that about Toronto, that we have different beaches and different things actually go on. You go out to the Toronto Islands and you're going to get beaches that are a lot of tourists. And then people like me, I used to live on the waterfront, and living on the waterfront, you kind of treat the Toronto Islands like your backyard. It's kind of cool. You know, some people are like, oh, you have a condo, you know, you can't take care of a backyard, blah, blah, blah. You can't plant flowers. And I understand that, but in the flip side, the city plants my flowers, the city maintains my property, like my parks, and I get to enjoy them. So instead of spending hours cutting the lawn, I can spend time enjoying the lawn. I don't know if you can see this in front of me. I'm gonna try to creep up on it. It's a little itty bitty fishy. It's silver though, so it's kind of hard to see. It's directly in front of me, about 1 meter ahead. I'm trying to walk slow. If it sees my shadow, it's gonna freak out. I can already see that it knows me, like it knows I'm here, because it's starting to counteract my movement. It's trying to hide in that sun. They're pretty smart actually. So it's trying to hide in that. Okay, I'm past it. Going a little bit deeper. Oh, I think I'm gonna cut it off now. I don't know if you can see this fish. Okay, let's see. Can you see that fish? I don't know if you can see that fish or not. I got a reflection in my screen right now. But there's a fishy right there. Now, sometimes on Lake Ontario, especially in the springtime, there's going to be hundreds of dead fish. I mean, hundreds flopping around on the shores. What is that? This is a freshwater, and you know what? The best way to explain is this. If you buy fish at a pet store and you bring it home to your tank, what do? You don't open up the water and just chuck them all in because they die. They need to become acclimatized to the water temperature so they don't have a shock. So because of that, you basically, so because of that, when there's springtime, the top of the surface gets warm, the fish are there. You get a few waves and it stirs it up, and they all die because it becomes too cold, much like a bag coming home from the pet store. So unfortunately, if you get like a few waves and some cold, all of a sudden you'll have lots of dead fish, and people are like, oh no, this isn't clean, blah, 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 blah. No, it's clean, it's fine, it's natural. I used to live on Lake Ontario for a good 15 years. We had a 250-foot beachfront property across the lake. You could see Toronto from my parents' property, and yeah, fish would wash up quite frequently. Now, what's also interesting, it's Lake Ontario, right? So where we were over on the other side of the lake, see this green stuff? Like that little green stuff. This is nothing at all. You can sit in this. It can be on your skin. It's not going to do anything. It's literally the equivalent of like grass, this little bit. It's nothing. Anyway, over on our side, we used to have like a foot of goo that would show up on the shores in the summertime from bacteria and stuff. And that's just kind of an interesting observation based versus this beach. Now, if you were to go to Cherry Beach, what you're going to find is not nice sand. You're going to find powdery sand mixed with the rocks, glass. There's going to be this kind of sludge stuff. No, this kind of green stuff, but all up on the shore, so it looks like sludge. There we go. And it's not going to be near as nice. I love doing that, just stopping and following the trail of my wake. Ooh, this is nice water today. So, as I was saying before, for anyone else that hasn't heard, this is probably 19 to 22 degrees right now. I don't feel it at all on my ankles when I step in, so it's definitely warmer. If I can feel it on my ankles, if I go in and I'm like, ooh, that means it's probably about 10 degrees. At 6 degrees, it's pain to take a step in. Now look at this. This is about, we're moving a little farther down from the kids area, I'll call it. And you can see there's a little bit of rock, just a little bit, right there. Now that's probably from a wavy day. Now, if you've seen any of my videos over the multiple years, or any of my shorts, I do exceptional amount of glass cleanup here. So much so, I've been cleaning glass here for 13 years. I used to get giant handfuls of glass. And now I find very, very little amounts. I think I might have cleaned up the entire beach over the 13 years, some residual glass, and now I'm only maintaining the new glass. If you've seen at the start of this stream, I found a giant Crown Royal bottle that was buried in the sand right over at the kids area, which was quite annoying. I'm gonna pick that up obviously and throw it out, but it's just sitting above the sand right now in a safe area. Again, I was mentioning this dark area. What is that? That's ash sediment from some people doing fires on the beach. I don't agree with fires on the beach, but whatever. I'm not gonna Karen it up. People do their own thing as long as it's clean. But the positive, it gives this cool little red hue. So you can do with a stick, draw your name in it and stuff like that. See if I can get see that? It kind of sparkles. So it's kind of neat. Or even at sandcastles, right? Like you can make a sandcastle out of like one of those primarily, and it will turn into like a red sparkling castle for your design, which is pretty neat. And put my shoes just over here on the shore so we can go walking with no shoes on. Ooh. Seagull feather. Boop, boop. Just doing a turnaround. I'm not going to walk all the way down there right now. There's a girl down there doing some photos with her bikini, and I just don't like being a dude creeping along the beach holding up a camera. Even though y'all know I'm doing a live stream just talking about the beach, to me, I still have, I don't know, humility, or I'm humble. I don't know. I can't do that stuff. And truth be told, I've already scared 2 groups of men off the beach this year for taking photos of women. Because a lot of guys will come to the beach, they'll pretend they're, oh, you know what? I'll do an example. They'll pretend to hold their photo like they're talking on the phone. So right now, stand by, I'm gonna hold it like I'm talking on the phone, right? So now it's on my ear like I'm talking on the phone. And then they use the camera and they walk around and they'll pretend the seagull's the girl. And they'll stand like this and they look. And it's like super freaking creepy. And you can totally tell what's going on. There we go. And you can totally tell what's going on because you can see there's a freaking camera on the thing. Or they're doing a stream to one of their creepy friends wherever the hell they are. I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. Now earlier this year was kind of, what is it, June? A lot of high school students skip. There's a high school up the way. A lot of high school students skip and come down here for their last period in June. I noticed a few guys, oh, see this rock? I like to clean these rocks up so people don't step on them, because kids going down on their knees on this, it hurts. Up there, they'll get taken care of a lot easier. Anyway, these guys are taking photos. They tried to get up on that tower to take photos of the girls' bikinis that were lying there, right? So I go over there, scare them away, let the lifeguards know. Turns out lifeguards are smart. They're like, yo, those are high school students. They're probably underage. So we called the police and got them down here. Unfortunately, the guys got away, but we were able to give them some details to try to assist. Now you see where the light and dark colored sand is? We do get a lot of waves here at Bluffers Beach. Actually, a shocking amount of waves. For how calm it is right now, we get, well, those buoys, they can get completely rocked. Like they'll get under the waves. When I'm chest deep, the waves will easily go over my head. Sometimes waist deep, they'll go over my head. And that just means the difference between the low level of the water and the high level of the water if I was standing with my feet on the ground. Oh my. Look at this. Look how beautiful the day. This is Toronto, Ontario. This is day number 4 that we're gonna have 40 degrees with the Humidex. All right, that's day number 4 in a row where it's 30 to 36 degrees and then pushing it up to 40 with the Humidex. That's pretty intense if you think about it, right? Considering 6 months from now, theoretically, we can have negative 40. Now at negative 40, Celsius or Fahrenheit, doesn't matter. They match up at that temperature, all right? That's pretty crazy. Infrastructure starts failing. Actually, kind of check that out. Plus 40, infrastructure starts failing. Negative 40, infrastructure starts failing, right? Rubber gaskets either become too loose, crack, stuff like that. It's kind of amazing that all of our like human civilization exists between those 2 temperature ranges. And when things get hotter, everything fails, from our bodies to our infrastructure. Look at that. Now, sand quality. If you've ever heard of Wasaga Beach, which is the longest freshwater beach in the world, it's in Ontario, it's 2 hours north of Toronto. Their sand is a very fine grain. It's very, very tight together. You can make exceptionally tight sandcastles. But the sandbar, this is all sandbar you're seeing. This is all fluffy sand, see? Fluffy sand. The sandbar is almost hard on your feet because the ripples are so tight from the grains of the sand. This sand is like perfect. It's fluffy enough. It's fluffy enough that you can just completely kick it, right? Let's go up here. All right, super fluffy. If you get deep enough, you get to the packing sand. That's perfect. And what that also means is when you're inside on the sandbars, it's soft under your feet. It doesn't feel hard hitting the bridges of your feet. It's just squishy. Look at that. Look at that. It's so cool. Look at the bluffs again. This is Scarborough Bluffs. You come down here, you take photos of like, you know, your little beach adventure, and people are like, yo, where'd you go on vacation? Like, where in the world is this? And you're like, Scarborough, bro. It's pretty chill. Hey, side note, you want to know something chill? Mike Myers, Austin Powers, he grew up in Scarborough. This is like his stomping grounds. Like if you were to like, say on like a live tweet or something, go, hey, Mike Myers, how's Bluffers Beach? He's going to have a response for you. It's pretty hilarious. It blew my kid's mind. I don't know, side note, if you do have kids, especially around 10 years old, oh my gosh, you have to watch Austin Powers. The potty comedy on it is the best. I'm gonna get my shoes away because I think this guy's gonna come down and get my my sandals here. Let me just get my sandals just in case. That's another reason I love being at the beach. I can't help but be like happy here. It's the greatest thing in the world. I call it beach therapy. Oh, that bugger's going away now. See? So this thing has those claws you can see in front of the rear tires. The claws move forward, grabbing the garbage, and it throws it onto a conveyor belt that drops it into the triangle bin in the back. In my opinion, these claws should be scraping a little bit lower. They're not scraping quite deep enough, I find. Is he gonna loop around? Yeah, that's what he's doing, he's looping around. I think that they should be a little bit deeper. Not a problem with him. I think it's just what the rating is or whatever. I'm curious to see if we'll eventually get the automated beach groomers they've been talking about. So you can see right there how the claws work. All right, back to beach. Beach life is best life. I'm just trying to decide when I'm going to go swimming here. I need to get in the water. Look at that. The current typically comes from the rocks over there and makes its way over this way. And because the beach naturally curves out, you get this cool lazy river feature. So, hey you, shush up. So, if you bring a tube and you go out between that buoy and that buoy out there, and you float there when there's a little bit more current, maybe just like slightly bit more than this, because you can see how the water's kind of coming towards us, and you float, you will eventually float this way and bop into the sand way down there in about 45 minutes. And then I pick up my tube and I walk it all the way back over here, walk on it out, and do it again. It's really, really nice. Typically, the only time you can't do that is if the wind's blowing from the bluffs out to the lake, because that will blow your tube out to the lake, obviously. It's not the safest thing to do. Sometimes we have a dog leash that we bought from the dollar store that we hook on our tube so we can, you know, stay connected. Sometimes we'll just throw the leash around one of those buoys and we just float out there nice and deep. Woo. I love doing that. Walk forward really fast and stop. Isn't that cool? What's going on, all you guys? Comments? I'd be saying what's up a little bit more, but you know what? It's so bright today. I actually have a hard time seeing my screen right now. Every time I look at it, I see a reflection of myself, which is, you know, kind of ridiculous. What's going on? Ali God of War and Danny Bunny. It is a beautiful place. It's heaven on earth. It really is. I mean, in the summertime, I have a hard time going away on vacation in other places because we have this right here in Toronto. And it's like, okay, where do you want to go from Toronto? If you go to Grand Bend, that's another popular place, if you guys check it out on Google, it's going to be about a 2.5, 3 hour drive from Toronto. You're going to be paying for parking. You're going to be spending the whole day, like an entire invested full day or multiple days you have to stay over. Wasaga Beach, 2 hour drive. You can spend the whole day, you'll be back in the evening. A lot of beaches are like that close to Toronto. We can go over to St. Catharines, Hamilton, Burlington, all the same deal. However, Bluffers Beach, Monday through Friday, free parking. How far is it from downtown Toronto? 20 minutes. How far is it from Mississauga? 50 minutes. How far is it from Canada's Wonderland? So let's just call that up to, oh no, the bombers are coming in. Oh my God, please don't poo on me. Stop, no. Okay, they've all moved. That could have been dangerous. So coming from, say, from Wonderland, it's about a 40-minute drive as well. So in reality, this is the closest beach with the best sand quality, the best water quality. You got lifeguards on beach, as I was mentioning, which is safe for the kids. Let's talk about that for a sec. So the lifeguards here, they're amazing. And the beach here can actually be dangerous. I was mentioning before that there is a lot of large family picnics. You know, some families, you know, new to Canada, have never really been around water. Other families, like, you know, been around water their whole lives. That doesn't matter. What the deal is, though, is when you have family picnics, sometimes some families let the 16-year-olds watch after the 14-year-olds, looking after the 12-year-olds, and the 8-year-old goes missing. Oh no, here they come. And unfortunately, that's when, you know, I don't want to say it, but, you know, a drowning happens. We've been here for a triple once, and the little ones didn't make it. And the reason being, massive family picnic. All adults were wearing multiple layers of clothing. Again, that doesn't matter, but you should have adults in the water with your kids. I don't care what you wear in the water, but you should be in the water with your kids. And at the time, this was multiple years ago, it was so busy here and they didn't have road regulations, so the fire trucks couldn't get down. It was not a good situation. However, now it's a way better situation. We have road regulations. We lock down the road so we can get emergency services down here if we need it. Our lifeguards are way more on point with the kids, which is really, really good. And although a little bit strict, it's necessary for this beach because it looks so peaceful and calm, and it is. Unfortunately, because I was mentioning how the sand here is a little soft, we can get a lot of different wavelengths. This is a good example. Look at that. 2 different sandbars on top of each other. And that's only because the current was going one way and then the other way. And the wavelength here is the sand here is so soft that it's easy to move around. So what does that mean? Okay. Right now it's at my ankles, right? So if I just come over here, I'm closer to shore now, right? It's at my kneecaps. So, but that's today. If there's a lot of waves, tomorrow, that might be at my ankles, this might be at my waist. And that's the trick about Bluffers Beach, is sometimes the entire sand bed moves. It's a very dynamic sandbar. Sometimes out there at that buoy where those people are in the paddleboards, sometimes over there is at my kneecaps, where right here is almost over my head, this close to shore. And it moves with every storm. So that's why the lifeguards here are hyper vigilant. The water clean, the current very little. There is a current that usually goes this way, and if the waves are coming in this way, then the current pushes that way. It's like a side rip. It's not a rip like you'd think about with surfing. It's I don't know how to put it. It's like a side rip that kind of goes quickly along the shore, not quick enough to like catch you, but if you get over to the rocks, it could be not a happy situation. So they don't let people over to the rocks. Anyway, in recent years, we've been pretty good. If there's been mistakes, it's typically we'll call it a user error on the water. Like somebody out here didn't make it this year. They were paddleboarding with no life jacket, decided to jump in and fell like a rock into the water. Down you go. Hence why I was saying earlier that, you know, swimming in a lake by yourself is actually far more dangerous than anything you could be doing skiing. I don't care if it's tree skiing, I don't care if it's double black diamond. One gulp wrong, one cramp. You've got about, what, 30 seconds, maybe? We are not the best animals in water. The machine stopped. that. It reminds me of a pool, because I always see that design in pools, but you don't see that too often in beaches. Way off in the distance, at the end of where that piece of land ends, is the Pickering nuclear power plants that actually have silos that kind of look like The Simpsons. So on a very clear day, it's kind of cool. And my kid pointed that out. I didn't even I saw it, but I didn't really think about it. And he was he's like, Daddy, The Simpsons. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's shockingly true. Anyway, that particular power plant was rated as one of the cleanest, if not the cleanest, nuclear plants in the world. Gold standard for how you do nuclear. And you see there's a little cargo container over there. These guys, they took my idea, and you know what? You never be bitter when someone ends up doing the same thing as your idea. Feel happy that you knew your idea was good. You didn't implement it. I wasn't successful with it, but my idea was on point, which means that further ideas should be as well. What am I supposed to say? Other ideas I have are probably relevant and good business ideas if the business ideas I think of and don't act on actually become viable businesses. So I'm always proud for people doing that stuff, because to me, it's my thoughts, my creativity, my research put into motion, although I didn't do it. Anyway, they rent out kayaks and paddle boards and all kinds of boat things to the beach. And I always thought that would be a cool thing to do at the beach, is rent out stuff, sand toys, chairs, tubes to do the lazy river thing like I was mentioning. They took the idea, they've got it at every beach in Toronto. Good for them. I'm always proud of entrepreneurship, even if I didn't do it. But yeah, look at this. All right. Well, we've been going live now for 37 minutes. 37 minutes. And I think I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to go for a swim, a quick little dip. And then I got to go and take care of my dad. He's getting pretty old now, so I help him with all his medical and finances and stuff like that. And also brought him to the beach the last 2 days. This is the third day in a row I've been at the beach, by the way. But I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to sit at home and watch TV right now. I can't do that. I'd rather be here talking to you guys on YouTube, doing this kind of stuff. It's way nicer. Or, sleeping in. I just can't sleep in the summertime. I would rather wake up when the sun rises, have an entire day, maybe take a nap in the afternoon when it's so bloody hot, and then have a whole nice evening. Last evening we went for a walk on the Toronto waterfront. We're on the waterfront, Cherry Beach, Woodbine Beach, Lakeside Beach too. So we were basically on every beach on the waterfront last night. We just kept stopping, taking 20-minute walks. 2.5 hours later, from 7 till 10:30. No, 9:30. Yeah, 7:30 to 9:30. We were done. It was amazing. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for coming along for this little adventure. I'm going to take my run now. If I run with you guys, it's just going to be all bouncy. You don't see that. And I'm going to take a nice swim, probably out to mid-buoy across, so it's safe for me, as I was mentioning earlier. Feel free to subscribe. Please check out all of my videos. I've got a lot of cool adventures. We do a lot of different stuff. I try to keep it real. I try to keep it old school YouTube, not highly produced, just a nice amount of production value to keep you interested in, for the fun of it for me. But I don't want it to turn into a TV show. I want to keep this real. I want to keep it as, well, not only is it for you guys, but it's for me too. I love documenting this kind of stuff just for myself and to look back on it later. There's a song, a really popular song from the 90s, and it says, "Will you take my picture because I won't remember?" That's why I do this stuff, so I can remember. Have a good one, y'all.